Good morning to you and your viewers. We indeed, as many Namibians, woke up this morning to the shocking loss of this legend. I too was found on my back foot. Of course, when somebody is taken ill, gets good medical treatment, there is this human, fleshly hope that regardless of the age of that person, that they will recover. And so we were sort of the belief that he, having gone to the United States and with the initial reports that he is responding well to the treatment, we thought that it was going to be a matter of process, that he would be healed. And I think when the news came, we felt taken aback. We have never had a former president even pass on. Here we have a sitting president passing on, and it's a great day of sorrow, it's a great day of sadness, and yet it's also a day of reflection for us. I mean, one must above all, of course, express our condolences and sympathies with the First Lady, Mama Monica Geingob, and then to the children, and keep them in our prayers and wish them well, and implore on them to mourn as people that have a living God, as people of faith, who understand that the Holy Spirit, when called upon, is our ultimate companion in times of sorrow and sadness. And this is the message we would like to convey to Mama Monica Geingob, the children, and the extended family at large. But of course also to express our condolences to the acting president, who is also, apart from his official capacity, a person that was a close friend to Dr. Geingob, and to the cabinet colleagues, as well as to the vice president of the South West African People's Organization, and to the entire rank and file of that organization, that we mourn collectively as a country, as political parties, as people that had various relationships with President Geingob. We can only, after so many years of service, which spans over a period of 6 decades, where he committed his life already from the age of 21, 22, having been a representative of the South West African People's Organization in the United States, in New York, already at that tender age, as a young person, he was speaking on behalf of the people of Namibia. What can we say except to say, thank you, Dr. Geingob, for your service. Dabandura unene tatekulu, kay gangans, kay kwetse, okuhepashinene muhona. This is all we can say, and to pray for the Lord to receive his soul, so that he too can join with the angels to rejoice and give praise and thanks to his Creator, the Lord Jesus Christ, whom he actually glorified and praised. I was privileged a week or so ago to actually go with my wife to his house, because when the media was informed about the treatment, I thought, after having spoken to Minister of Defense Kapofi, he said, look, I think you need to go to Hage G. That was now in his WhatsApp message. He said he's not doing well and he will appreciate it. So I thought, coming from Honorable Kapofi, matters must be serious. So I sent him a WhatsApp message, because we would be talking from time to time. Politicians are now telling the country that we're actually talking behind the scenes. But nonetheless, so I said, I need to see you. No politics, no discussion. I want to see you, and I want to see you now. So he said, well, look, today maybe not possible, but come tomorrow, 10 o'clock. So I took my wife, and we went to his house at 10, and we spent an hour talking and laughing. And we collectively sort of felt some sense of relief that here was this man undergoing treatment, but we're able to see him in flesh and share some jokes and share some laughter. So one of the things I said to him was that, well, like you or not, we all agree that you have lived your life freely and in the way you wanted. And he was laughing, the typical Hage laughter. And I gave him a hug as we left, quite profoundly. And we said, go well and come back well. So as we left, he was just seated in the chair with my wife and the First Lady as we were leaving the house, going through the walls there, the pictures, and she explaining to us who is this and who is that one. And he was just stationed on the sofa. And so I was looking at him and realizing that he must be reflecting on a lot of stuff. I'm saying that because in our conversation, what came up was something he said. He said, look at what you and I have been through. It's been all over. But here you are in my house. We are talking, we are laughing, and life is complicated, but yet simple. And I want to leave you with the words that we should never write off each other or anyone. Never do that in your life. You may argue here, but then you need each other at a different point. And I thought that's something I'm going to take along in my life, because that for me is wisdom from an old man who was saying, you are in politics, but also at a personal level. Never write off anybody permanently. Never do that. And when I heard about this passing of the old man, I've been reflecting since the morning about that. And I must say I felt privileged that my wife and I could actually sit and speak to him. Apparently, as it seems, that was the last time that we would ever speak. So in some way, those were our goodbyes to one another. So we mourn this man who died serving. He died serving because, as he was explaining to me that day, the medical doctor whom connected him to sort of this type of treatment would eventually end up opening some of the pharmaceutical plant that he has planned for South Africa and for Zambia, but he would now, as a result of the connection they made, do it in Namibia as well as in Botswana. So, hamba kahle, that is what one can say, and to say thank you for all he has done for this country.
So, Mr. Swartbooi, just briefly, what does this mean for the political scene of the country?
Well, I think that's a very, very important question. We have never been in this space as a country. We first have to deal with what is important, and that is to give a unified and dignified celebration and homegoing of the president. Then we will have to, as younger politicians, probably reflect on what is it that we can learn from this man. Here is a man who was a politician, but he lived in his own way a flowery life. If President Geingob wanted to dance, he would do that. It was original. It was spontaneous. And I think we will have to, in our political systems and parties, learn to be spontaneous and original in what we do, in what it is that we say to our people as we go for elections later the year. We have to, as he was, learn to be upfront in our politics. Sometimes a bit painful, but quite upfront in the thoughts we have, in the direction the country is taking or the direction the government is taking, because that's what he lived every day. He would speak his mind. We would have to recommit ourselves within the political spectrum toward the fight against corruption. Remember, the ACC is a brainchild of Geingob. He, of course, envisioned it a little bit differently in that he wanted the ACC to have an element of rehabilitation, where you would also have some spiritual leaders and so on to counsel those that are accused of corruption and so on. Not just a punitive institution. But fine, we have what we have. And so he was a champion of that institution. We will have to, given the myriad of challenges, undertake how we relate to that principle of fighting corruption. Until he died, this man stood firm in fighting corruption. If Geingob chose to defend his cabinet ministers in the fish rod saga, they would still be ministers. But he stood on the side of let the law take its course. For if colleagues are innocent, the courts are there. If they are guilty, the courts are there. And I think it's an aspect which gets muddled in accusations and counter-accusations, but here is a president that said, look, please, perhaps not step aside, but I'm relieving you of your duty. Very revolutionary in the African context, really. There is another not well articulated aspect of this man, Dr. Geingob. I had a conversation with Zimbabwean business people who are now permanent residents here. And they were saying that, listen, we do a lot of tenders here. There was a time in this country when tenders were issued one after the other worth billions of Namibian dollars. And there would be problems with payment after services are done. Geingob came in and he began to close the taps so that no money is spent by the government that the country did not have. And thereby he closed all the leakages within the government, stopped giving tenders where there was no money, which therefore meant the country to go and do a lot of borrowing. He stopped it and therefore stabilized the economy very quietly. And at the time of his death, I remember a month or so ago, he was saying, the economy is getting back on track. It took about 9 years, including COVID, that gave another setback to the economy. 9 years for the work of Geingob to end up stabilizing the economy such that we're able to see the first signs of growth, both in the tourism, in the mining sectors, as well as in the financial sector. Many people don't know this. And this had to come to me through Zimbabweans who were saying, we saw where your country was going. If it was not for this man, you were going to become another Zimbabwe, where you were spending money you didn't have, and you would borrow for money that you had to give to people at higher interest rates and keep on indebting society. Geingob quietly made that revolution to say, we spend what we have. We don't spend what we don't have. And I want to emphasize it really, and it's something that we will keep on talking about in remembering this man and in recalling his legacy. That here we thought there will be a lot of factories that will come in, a lot of investment that will come in. Maybe that was not his purpose. His purpose was to go and stop the bleeding of the country's finances and stabilize it so that whoever takes over can at least take forward from a stable foundation. So the question that you have asked is very broad, very, very fundamental, and it's one that both the philosophy and the thinking of the man will have to permit our day-to-day activities. The commitment toward the Constitution, the rule of law. These are some of the things that the politics of this country has to engender deeply in our organs so that we appreciate that if we sway away from the principles of the Constitution, there's nothing that can hold us together. So I give my condolences on behalf of myself, my family, and the Landless People's Movement to the rank and file of the government of the Republic of Namibia. I'm also thinking very much about Professor Peter Kachowivi, who was a close friend of his. For some reason, I've been thinking about Dr. Nikki Iambo, I know, was close to him. And I also give particular condolences to President Bohamba, who was one of the people that really pushed for President Geingob to become the third President of the Republic of Namibia. God will see us through. God bless Namibia, and God bless his soul.